AITA for telling my son I will never tell him who his biological father is? I 38F had a particularly bad argument with my oldest son, 20M, last night. My husband, 41M, is my oldest son's stepfather and has been in his life since my oldest was 4 and has been married to me since my son was 7. We also have another son, 6M, and I'm currently pregnant. My husband and oldest son have a close, loving relationship and probably have had one of the smoothest stepfather/stepson relationships around. That said, my son has always been curious about his biological father, which I understand, but usually has kept that curiosity to the occasional question that I nip in the bud, then no further questions for a long time. Recently, my son has been asking me more about who his biological father is, whom he occasionally just refers to as his father, which I and my husband have found hurtful, though he says he doesn't mean that he doesn't think of my husband as his dad when he says that. He hasn't dropped the issue. I don't ever want to tell my son who his biological father is because he was conceived via rape, and I know that knowing this would be immensely hurtful to my son. He is sadly quite similar to me in that he is more than happy to blame himself for things, and I absolutely do not want him to feel bad about this in any way. I don't even know anything about the rapist either, so it isn't even like my son would get any practical information/medical history details from knowing any of this either. Obviously, I've told my son that I adore him and I'm happy he's my son and in my life, but I have no interest in elaborating on who his biological father is. Anyway, last night my son and I had quite a bad argument last night, and I told him during it that I would never, ever tell him who his biological father is or anything about him. This basically ended the argument, and while I've apologized to my son about being harsh, he still is upset that I said this, but I stand by it. I just don't know what to do and if this decision is even right.